What's hiding underneath things can be scary. Underwater, under your bed, especially what's under your carpet. Except when you get new carpet from Carpet One Floor and Home. After tearing up your old carpet, they'll vacuum and apply Health Annex antimicrobial to your subfloor, disinfecting and killing mold, mildew, and any remaining general awfulness. Carpet One Floor and Home goes the extra mile to protect you, your family, and your home. Carpet One Floor and Home in Columbia, making your home beautiful, guaranteed.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Tuesday, December the 27th. We have, 5 or 6 days left of 2022 before we head into 2023. And I want to introduce you to Danielle Winton, who is with us from Memory Strategy. And we're going to talk about how to improve our memory in the new year.
Mm-hmm. And specifically, I actually wanted to ask you, do you ever have New Year's resolutions?
Not really. Years ago I was doing resolutions, and the older you get, I think you realize you don't need to. I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
I just kind of make up my mind that I want to do something and do it. A lot of times people will say, "Oh, my New Year's resolution is such and such and such," and then a month later it's gone.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, where they have really good intentions and maybe they follow through for a little while, and then it kind of falls off, right?
Right.
And so I wanted to talk about some strategies of ways that people can be a little more consistent and create some better habits in the new year.
Okay.
And so I brought some tips, and the first tip is all about writing out your New Year's goals. So there's a really interesting study that says we are 40% more likely to follow through on our goals if we just write it down.
I have read that, and I honestly believe in that, because once you write something down, it almost becomes a reality. Mm-hmm. You write it down, you say, I'm going to do this, or I will do this, and then think of what the benefit is going to be when you actually do that.
Yeah.
So when you write it down, it becomes almost a reality.
Yeah, and it changes your mindset too, because it's sort of like making a contract with yourself or a commitment to yourself. And one thing that I did at the very beginning of this year in 2022 was I created a mission statement for myself. So I said, what's the most important thing for me to do this year? And I looked at it every day. Well, not every day, but I looked at it continually, which brings me to my second tip, which is to schedule review of what you wrote down. So what I did is every other week in my calendar, in my planner, I scheduled just a 5-minute review of what my goals were.
It's almost like a business that you're doing.
It kind of, yeah. It's
you have a mission statement, and then you review how that mission statement is going.
That's a really good way to look at it, actually, because, if you're not taking care of yourself, who is, right?
Right.
And so you're responsible for yourself. And so reminding yourself of, what am I doing this year? Because I think, and especially for women, it's easy for us to say yes to a lot of things. But in order for us to complete our mission, we have to say no to a lot of things.
Exactly.
There's a lot of distractions that we have.
I think it's one of the most important things that we need to remember is so many times we're so concerned about if we say no, somebody's not going to like us, or they're going to be upset with us. Well, you want to do as much as you can for people, but sometimes you have to think about yourself.
Exactly.
And you have to say, no. Not that I don't want to do it. No. It's not that I don't like you, but no.
Right.
I just want to do this for myself.
And it's like, on the airplane, putting the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else. Like, you have to take care of you so that you can help others.
Oh, right. When they give you in case there's an oxygen deprivation on the airplane, put your mask on first before you assist others so that you can breathe okay, and then you can help others.
Exactly.
But if you put yourself out of commission, you can't help anybody else.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to talk about is, a lot of people during the New Year's, the biggest goals people have is typically health related, maybe weight loss or diet. Sometimes it's learning a new skill. Sometimes it's about becoming more organized, or it's finance related. And one of the best things that you can do is schedule time for those things to take place. If you just say, here's my goal, and then never plan, never schedule anything, it probably won't happen, right? So being super intentional of when am I going to go to the gym? When am I going to meet with my financial planner? So schedule those things into your calendar is really important.
Oh, I think that's a wonderful idea. Then number 3?
Yep. So number 3 is all about creating a space that you want to either work or study in. So most people, there's a lot of people with remote work now, and there can be a lot of distractions at home. So really thinking about the space that you are doing the work in. Is it a space you want to go into? Is it messy? Is it clean? Is it loud? Is it quiet? What can you do to where you want to walk into that space that excites you? So maybe it's decorating. Maybe it's putting a different scent, like candles. It's a very feminine thing. But, how can you create a space that you want to work in? Or
something that's pleasant for you.
Yeah.
And if you set up a pleasant situation in there, you're going to want to go in and do your work and meet those goals that you put down for your resolutions.
Exactly. And there's also these really interesting studies that talk about greenery and nature and plants, and that even just images of nature can increase motivation and productivity. It's fascinating. So think about fake plants or even photos or art of plants.
No, not the fake plants. I mean, I love the real plant. Put in the real, and there's so many plants that you can put that will grow. You can abuse them and they still grow, like philodendrons. You put them in the house and they're going to grow, and they clean the air too.
Okay.
They clean the air.
I didn't know that.
Oh, sure. You put plants in your house, and they're cleaning the air. They're putting oxygen back into the air.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
that was tip number 3. But use real plants. And the last one.
And so the 4th one I have is think annually. So often in our day-to-day lives, we're thinking today, or the next hour, or even in a week. We really don't challenge ourselves to think annually. So think yearly. So one question I like to ask people is, if you get to the end of the year next year, what are you going to regret not doing? And make that a priority. What would be your biggest regret if you go the whole year and you did nothing? What's something that you need to implement in your life so that you don't have a regret at the end of the year? Mm-hmm. And another thing that I tell people is you can plan ahead for things that you know are going to come up. So think about your oil changes. Think about your dentist appointments. Think about your doctor's appointments. Think about your home maintenance. Take an afternoon and schedule all those out for the whole year. That way none of them catch you by surprise.
Exactly. And make sure that you have the money there for those events that are going to come up. If you own a house, of course, there's maintenance that has to be done. There's homeowners insurance that has to be paid. Mm-hmm. Know when that's all due, mm-hmm. and make sure that you have the cash for it.
Right, exactly.
So planning ahead, that's a good idea.
Yes.
And you got to think, as she says, think annually. I think you need to think more than annually, too, because that time goes a lot faster than you anticipate.
Yeah, so have a meeting with your financial planner and think long term.
Danielle, thank you so much for coming by.
Of course.
It's always a pleasure chatting with you. You've got good information to share with us. We appreciate it. If people want to contact you, what's the best way to do it?
It's www.memorystrategy.com.
Okay, memorystrategies.com. You can visit the website, and there's information on there. Thank you so much. I wish you a merry, we're past, but still Merry Christmas.
That's right.
And a happy 2023.
Thank you. You
okay.
too.
If there's something you'd like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu.